Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudev, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudev, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamascha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye shrinvatam swakatha krishna punyashravana kirtana ridhi antasta bhadrani vidhunoti suratsatam nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtiki. Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, Chapter 22. Swami invites the hippies. At the Mantra Rock Dance, there would be multimedia light show by the biggest names in the art, Ben Van Meter and Roger Hilliard. Ben and Roger were expert at using simultaneous strobe lights, films, and slideshows to fill an auditorium with optical effects reminiscent of LSD visions. Mukunda had given them many slides of Krishna to use during the Kirtan. One evening, Ben and Roger came to see Swamiji in his apartment. Roger Hilliard, he was great. I was really impressed. It wasn't the way he looked, the way he acted, or the way he dressed, but it was his total being. Swamiji was very serene and very humorous, and at the same time, obviously very wise and in tune, enlightened. He had the ability to relate to a lot of different kinds of people. I was thinking some of this must be really strange for this person to come to the United States and end up in the middle of Haight Ashbury with a storefront for an ashram and a lot of very strange people around, and yet he was totally right there with everybody. On the night of the Mantra Rock dance, while the stage crew set up equipment and tested the sound system and Ben and Roger organized their light show upstairs, Mukunda and others collected tickets at the door. People lined up all the way down the street and around the block, waiting for tickets at $2.50 apiece. Attendance would be good, a capacity crowd, and most of the local luminaries were coming. LSD pioneer Timothy Leary arrived and was given a special seat on stage. Swami Kriyananda came carrying a tambura, a man wearing a top hat and a suit with a silk sash that said San Francisco arrived, claiming to be the mayor. At the door, Mukunda stopped a respectably dressed young man who didn't have a ticket. But then someone tapped Mukunda on the shoulder. Let him in. It's all right. He's Owsley. Mukunda apologized and submitted, allowing Augustus Owsley Stanley II, folk hero and famous synthesizer of LSD, to enter without a ticket. Almost everyone who came wore bright or unusual costumes, tribal robes, Mexican ponchos, Indian kurtas, God's eyes, feathers, and beads. Some hippies brought their own flutes, lutes, gourds, drums, rattles, horns, and guitars. The Hells Angels, dirty haired, wearing jeans, boots, and denim jackets, and accompanied by their women, made their entrance carrying chains, smoking cigarettes, and displaying their regalia of German helmets, emblazoned emblems, and so on. Everything but their motorcycles, which they had parked outside. The devotees began a warm up kirtana on stage, dancing the way Swamiji had shown them. Incense poured from the stage and from the corners of the large ballroom. And although most in the audience were high on drugs, the atmosphere was calm. They had come seeking a spiritual experience. As the chanting began very melodiously, some of the musicians took part by playing their instruments. The light show began. Strobe lights flashed. Colored balls bounced back and forth to the beat of the music. Large blobs of pulsing color splurted across the floor, walls, and ceiling. A little after 8 o'clock, Moby Grape took the stage with heavy electric guitars, electric bass, and two drummers. They launched into their first number. The large speakers shook the ballroom with their vibrations, and a roar of approval rose from the audience. Around 9:30, Prabhupada left his Frederick Street apartment and got into the back seat of Harvey's Cadillac. He was dressed in his usual saffron robes, and around his neck he wore a garland of gardenias, whose sweet aroma filled the car. On the way to the Avalon, he talked about the need to open more centers. At 10 o'clock, Prabhupada walked up the stairs of the Avalon, followed by Kirtananda and Ranchor. As he entered the ballroom, devotees blew conch shells. Someone began a drum roll, and the crowd parted down the center all the way from the entrance to the stage, opening a path for him to walk. With his head held high, Prabhupada seemed to float by as he walked through the strange milieu, making his way across the ballroom floor to the stage. Suddenly, the light show changed. Pictures of Krishna and his pastimes flashed into the wall. Krishna and Arjuna riding together on Arjuna's chariot, Krishna eating butter, Krishna subduing the whirlwind demon, Krishna playing the flute. As Prabhupada walked through the crowd, everyone stood, applauding and cheering. He climbed the stairs and seated himself softly on a waiting cushion. The crowd quietened. Looking over at Allen Ginsberg, Prabhupada said, "You can speak something about the mantra." Alan began to tell of his understanding and experience with the Hare Krishna mantra. He told how Swamiji had opened a storefront on 2nd Avenue and had chanted Hare Krishna in Tompkins Square Park. And he invited everyone to the Frederick Street Temple. "I especially recommend the early morning kirtanas," he said, "for those who coming down from LSD want to stabilize their consciousness on re-entry." Prabhupada spoke, giving a brief history of the mantra. Then he looked over at Ellen again. "You may chant." Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Please forgive me, but can we just go to this, what we just read right now? It's such a wonderful experience to even read it again and again. And can you imagine when Srila Prabhupada would be walking in the middle and the light show changed from this, whatever numbers were playing in that kind of disco lights, and suddenly everything changed. Pictures of Krishna, his pastime flashed into the wall. Krishna and Arjun riding together on Arjuna. It would have been Golok, isn't it? At that moment when Srila Prabhupada entered. Beautiful. I just can't. Please, sorry for me taking that liberty of going back and just mentioning that. But Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so we'll start with the verse 429.1. Prachina bhariruvacha bhagavamstev chosmabhirnasam yag avagamyate kavyastad vijananti navayam karma mohitaha. Prachina bharhiruvacha bhagavamstev chosmabhirnasam yag avagamyate kavyastad vijananti na vayam karma mohitaha. Prachina barhiruvacha bhagavamste vachosmabhir nasam yag avagamyate kavyastad vijananti navayam karma mohitaha. Would anyone like to recite the shloka?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I am trying. Prachin Varhiruvacha Bhagavanste Vacha Asmahir Na Sammek Abagammate Kavayastad Vijananti Na Vayam Karma Mohitaha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam, Mataji.
Prachin Bhariruvacha Bhagavamste Vachosmabhir No Samyak Avagamyate Kavayastad Vijananti Na Vayam Karma Mohitaha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat pranam. I am also
Dandavat pranam.
Prachin Bharhiruvacha Bhagavamste Vachosmobhir Na Samyak Abhagammate Kabayastat Vijananti Na Vayam Karma Mohitaha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Mataji, Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam, Mataji.
Prachin Bahirvacha Bhagavamste Vacho Asambhir Na Samyag Avagamyate Kavayastat Vigyananti Na Vayam Karma Mohitaha. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. We'll go to synonyms and translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prachinabhari Uvacha. King Prachinabhari said, Bhagwan, O my Lord, te, your, vachaha, words, asmabhi, by us, na, never, samyak, perfectly, avagamyate, are understood, kavayaha, those who are expert, tat, that, vijananti, can understand, na, never, vayam, we, karma, by fruitive activities, mohitaha, enchanted. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. King Prachinabhari replied, My dear Lord, we could not appreciate completely the purport of your allegorical story of King Puranjan. Actually, those who are perfect in spiritual knowledge can understand. But for us who are overly attached to fruitive activities, to realize the purpose of your story is very difficult. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In Bhagavad Gita 7:13, Lord Krishna says, Tribhir guna mayer bhaver ebhihi sarvam idam jagat mohitam na bhijananti mam ebhaya param avyayam. Deluded by the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes of inexhaustible. Who am above the modes and inexhaustible. Generally, people are enchanted by the three modes of material nature and therefore practically unable to understand that behind all materialistic activities in the cosmic manifestation, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Generally, when people are engaged in sinful or pious activities, they are not perfect in knowledge of devotional service. The allegorical story narrated by Narad Muni to King Bahisman is especially meant to engage conditioned souls in devotional service. The entire story, narrated allegorically, is easily understood by a person in devotional service, but those who are engaged not in devotional service but in sense gratification cannot perfectly understand it. That is admitted by King Barhisman. This 29th chapter describes that too much attachment for women, one becomes a woman in the next life. But a person who associates with the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative becomes free from all material attachments and is thus liberated. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's and Mataji's. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru and Gauranga. Welcome to to Srimad Bhagavatam morning discussion. So we saw from chapter 25 to 28, Prachina Bhari has been told the story of Puranjan, allegorical story of Puranjan by Narad Muni. And we saw how Puranjan marries Puranjani. He gets old. After marriage, he begets hundreds of children. Then he gets old. He's attacked by Kalkanya, Prajwara, Chandavega, and then when he dies, he was thinking of his wife, and that's why he becomes a woman in the next birth as Vidarbhi, the daughter of king of Vidarbha, and she got married to Malyadhwaj, the king Malyadhwaj, and when Malyadhwaj died, she was lamenting, and her eternal friend Brahman, which is Super Soul, he came and gave her the knowledge through which she could attain self-realization. Right. So at the end of 28th chapter, because this is a new chapter now, so at the end of 28th chapter, we saw that Narad Muni is saying to Prachinabhari that this whole story is for the instruction of for self-realization. Okay, so after hearing this, now this chapter starts 29. After hearing this one, Prachinabhari has been asking. So this slide is from His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhuji's Bhagavad Pravaha series. Wonderful slides, how beautifully he, divide the whole chapter in sections. So it has this whole chapter, 29 chapter, is divided into multiple sections. The first section is the story which Narad Muni has described so far. He is elaborating it more on that. Right. So we have been listening to this story which Narad Muni has been describing to Prachinabhari. And we have been listening for past 2-3 months or more. And every verse is then given to one speaker who then elaborates it for half an hour or more based on the purports and Srila Prabhupada's senior disciples, lectures. So that's how we have been trying to understand this whole story, allegorical story. But Prachinabhari is receiving it in one go from Narad Muni. And there is no Srila Prabhupada's purports to tell who is Puranjan, what are the hundreds of kids, who is Puranjani. He knows that it's an allegorical story. Narad Muni gives hints and tells about it, but it's not been, to be honest, right now, Prachinabhari, we all have more knowledge about this story than Prachinabhari if we go back to time. So if we look at real time, Prachinabhari is still a bit confused because one, he doesn't have Srila Prabhupada purports, of course, and also he says why himself in this verse. So he opens the chapter. The chapter opens with this verse where Prachinabhari, right? He wants a clear explanation because Narad Muni said that this is for self-realization. The story which I said you, it's for self-realization. So Prachinabhari wants a detailed explanation. Now he's like, I really want to understand what is happening here in direct perception. See, this is Guhyam Akhyati Prachati. Prachinabhari is not listening for the sake of listening. Right? He has full interest in the story. He has full interest in advancing in spiritual life, in self-realization, for which Narad Muni is instructing him. So he doesn't want anything to be left on his own imagination or assumption. Oh yeah, maybe this is that. Okay, maybe he doesn't want that. Right? That's why he is asking directly to Narad Muni to explain, right? He says that give me a direct purport to your story. What these characters are in the life of a living entity. Please tell that. And then he also says that why I am unable, Prachinabhari is unable to understand what Narad Muni is explaining. And that is because of, see how he mentions here that actually those who are perfect in spiritual knowledge can understand, but for us who are overly attached to fruitive activities, to realize the purpose of your story is very difficult, right? So here Prachinabhari is not only saying that I don't understand, but he's also telling why he doesn't understand. So he knows that there's a problem that he can't understand, but he also know that why that problem exists. So it's half solution already there, right? Let's see what Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport. There are 2 points in the purport which are very which are actually which we can talk about. One is the problem and the other point is a solution, right? The problem, which Prachinabhari himself mentioned, attachment to sense gratification. And because we have Srila Prabhupada and his purports and his compassion to us, he is giving in the purport already the solution, which Narad Muni will, in future verses, he will describe the solution as well. But Prabhupada, being Prabhupada, the very compassionate soul, he is giving us the solution as well. Okay, so what Prachinabhari is saying, what's the problem? Attachment to sense gratification is the problem. And Prabhupada will say the easy way out of this whole sense gratification, this whole material world, right? So Prachinabhari is talking about this situation. He is saying that he is too much attached to material activities, material sense gratification. And this is something which we all, I'm in the assembly of devotees, and I'm sure everyone has seen this from Mahabharat, where this man is trying to save himself from the elephant. He was running and then he took help of branch of a tree. But then he noticed that there is a well with snakes at the bottom, dangerous snakes. And at the top, there are these 2 mouses, white and white and red, which is chewing the branch away. And then there is this personality who's trying to help him. But this man is not taking any help. Why? Because he has this beehive just on top of his head. And every now and then, slowly, drop by drop, there's one, kind of honey drop coming. So awaiting that honey drop, he's just like, just wait for a minute. I'll have one more honey drop, right? Before I do anything else. And that's all of us. That's all of us. I should not tell about anyone, but this is me. We are trying. I'm trying with my sense gratification, with this material attachments, right? Day and night is taking away. This analogy here is both these reds, white is day and black is night. And the elephant is trying to, make that tree, literally shake that tree, break that tree. That is our karmas. And then our future karmas are lying as pit of snake down. And just now and then, we get this pleasure from which Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also. In the beginning, it looks like nectar, but then later it becomes poison. And that's what's happening here in this. And Prachinabhari is actually classically telling us that we all are suffering with this. He is suffering with this, right? So let's not be mudha, right? Let's be intelligent. Let's at least, we should not be blind to our see how Prachinabhari was not blind to his shortcomings. And that's why he was a king. And if we want to be intelligent, at least, if not king. If we want to be intelligent and lead, we are leading our families, every one of us. We are parents, we are leading our family in one way or other. If not now, in future. If we want to be a good leader, we should, one, identify the problem. We should at least know that there is a problem, and then identify it, and then seek help. And that's what Prachinabhari is doing in this verse, right? He's saying that, Srila Prabhupada mentions 7.13 while explaining what Prachinabhari is trying to say, that this whole world, attachment to sense gratification, this whole world, everyone is deluded by these three modes of material nature, right? We all are dancing to the tunes of three modes of material nature, which are above us and below the Lord. It is like these material what problem do we have with these material modes of nature? What it does is it is blocking our view, blocking a clear view. These three people, they are wearing three glasses now, whether it's mode of ignorance, passion, or goodness. They all are tinted glass. They all are tinted glass, and material mode cover our vision in a way that we are unable to see the Lord. Right? Overall, this material covering, that's is there, which is stopping us from understanding the Lord. Whichever mode it is, it will tint and contaminate our vision and prevent us from understanding the Lord. I can give you another example of this, this picture where this is a small coin and it has covered the whole sun. Okay, this is a small coin covering the whole sun. Now, does that mean that the sun is smaller than the coin? No, the sun is not smaller than the coin, right? Similarly, Krishna is not. Krishna is, as he says in the purport of, in the translation of 713, is inexhaustible. He is beyond time and scope, right? We cannot even understand him. He is far, far, far bigger. There's no end, there's no beginning to him. But what's happening is our vision, the problem is in our vision. Our vision, we are choosing that coin to come between the sun and our vision. And that coin is material modes of nature. That's what we do. We choose Maya to block our vision, right? We choose Maya. She's not bigger than the Lord. Material modes comes under the authority of Maya Devi, and Maya Devi is not bigger than the Lord. We all know Maya Devi is not bigger than the Lord, but we choose her. We give her the permission. We do this free will, execution of free will, where we choose Maya Devi that please block my vision with this coin. I don't want to see the sun. I don't want to see the sun, right? But then, we can say that, okay, fine. Maya is not bigger, that can be understood. But then definitely Maya is very mean. She's not a good devotee or servant of the Lord, because she is stopping other people to see the Lord, right? But in 714 itself, Lord says, right, that she is her Mama Maya Duratyaya, he says. Yeah, Devi Esha Gunamai. Devi, she is divine energy. And whose energy? He says, my energy. He says, my energy. Maya is my energy, my personal divine energy. Right? So she is a servant of Lord. She is not mean. She is just doing what we are telling her to do and what Krishna has told her to do. She is like a should we say, she's like a tutor or a teacher. Yeah, she's like a teacher who's taking our exams, right? She's taking our exams, and Krishna has asked her to test us. Okay, and at every and any given situation. So she's not being mean, she's just doing her job. She's giving us multiple choice questions, she's giving us a whole paper. Teacher provides us the options, and this is a wonderful example from my days of Bhakti Shastri with His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji. Okay, disclaimer, all these slides are because of some of the devotees who I have either heard lectures, Srila Prabhupada's purports, or have done my Bhakti Shastri with. So all these examples, if you like, it's all glories to the senior disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and grand disciples, of course. So this is a perfect example. There's like, he was mentioning that this teacher's job is to take exam, providing multiple choice questions. And if the child choose a wrong option, they can't blame the teacher that why did you give wrong options? No, there was one right option among them, and that was the other options were wrong deliberately to test the knowledge of the student so that he can then progress in his studies based on the knowledge. Right? Teacher provides the options, but she also provides the education to choose those options correctly. Similarly, see, can you imagine, this is the life is like a multiple choice question where we all know we have to choose one answer, the right answer. We all know that. But despite of that, every situation we choose a wrong answer. Huh? It's like paper is out. The only thing you don't know is options. Questions we know. The options we don't know. But we know that there would be one same option every single time, which would be to choose the Lord. And we are not taking that option, right? So Maya Devi is Krishna's agent. She's testing us. She's like that strict tutor who the parent employs so that the student can further progress in his studies, right? The purpose of this exam, the purpose of teacher taking this exam, right, for the student is to help the student. Remember that. So Maya Devi is actually with a hope every time she throws a situation towards us with a hope that this time Sita Devi will choose the right option. And again, Sita Devi disappoints her. See, so she's giving with very hopeful attitude situation in front of us. It's us what we choose. Until we keep on choosing the wrong answer, we will stay in this material world, right? She is divine energy of the Lord who works hand in hand, glove. They are like literally hand in hand, Lord and Maya Devi. The purpose of appointing Maya Devi in this world by the Lord is to make sure that we choose the right decision. We execute the free will correctly, the free will which is given to us. Right? Sometimes, devotees also think that why Maya Devi would trip. I am sincerely trying to please Krishna. My purpose is to please Krishna. Then why Maya Devi is disturbing me also? And recently I was listening to a senior disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, Brij Bihari Prabhuji, and he mentioned that it is in one of his lectures, Srila Prabhupada said, Prabhupada was challenged by, not challenged, but asked by a devotee that why Prabhupada, why if our purpose is to serve the Lord, then why Maya Devi is so strong with us? And Srila Prabhupada said that because your purpose is not strong. Right? Without a beat, he said, we all get temptations, right? Some devotees praise us, immediately our ego inflates. Some devotee criticizes, immediately our anger increases. Our purpose is not to serve the Lord. Our purpose is still, at least again, I'm talking about myself, is very, very, it's like a continuous fight going on, or no, not a fight, but there's this tug of war where Maya Devi is giving us temptations and then we are trying to resist it. So there's this tug of war always in devotees life, right? And we should be, Srila Prabhupada used to say that he just has one problem with his disciples, that they don't fear Maya enough, right? His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj once mentioned that just like Mother Yashoda was always worried about the safety of his son, of her son, so in the same way, we should always be worried that somehow Maya may take us away. That is the words of His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj. That we all should be worried. We are small and Maya is big. We are not even surrendered to the Lord, and Maya is 100% surrendered to the instructions of the Lord. It's a no-brainer, right? Who would win? If There is a war between Maya Devi and devotees, unless, of course, you are fully surrendered to the Lord, right? So now this brings us to the solution. We talked about the attachment to the sense gratification. That is a problem which Prachina Bhari is already identified, right? Half battle one. And Srila Prabhupada gives us the full battle, full solution to that thing in the purport itself. The solution, what is the solution, right? And again, in 7:14 Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan himself says what is the solution. The easy way out of this material world is Devi Esham Gunamai Mama Maya Durateya Mam Evaya Prapadyante. Right? The whole purpose of giving us temptations by Maya is for us to choose the right answer, which is I surrender to the will of Lord. The whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita, whole purpose of all these scriptures is that we harmonize our will to the will of the Lord. We surrender to the Lord, right? Every time, this is what I was talking about. Every time we get a multiple choice question, the paper is out, we don't know the options, but we know that there would be one option which would be surrender to the Lord, right? Take Lord's shelter. But every single time, can you imagine? Sita Devi every single time will choose any other option than that. That's where we can say that, I'm struggling with material attachments, even every now and then. But this is true for not just people who don't know about the Lord, but this is like, okay, say a person who doesn't know about the Lord, we can always say that, oh, I didn't know that that was the right option. But for devotees, that right option is given. We know the answer paper. We know we know the question paper. We know the correct answer. It doesn't matter what wrong options are there, as long as you know the correct option. Still, it's a struggle to choose the right option, isn't it? And that is the right option is surrender to the Lord. Why is there a struggle? Let's see. What is this surrender to the Lord? Surrender to the Lord, when we talk about surrendering to the Lord, the first, thing which comes in our mind is Mother Draupadi, right? She just surrendered everything. She just gave up at one point after trying everything. She gave up. She understood that no one can help her. She gave up everything. That is the surrender to the Lord, right? That is one aspect of surrender, right? That is one aspect of surrender. But this is also surrender, where Arjuna, after saying that I'm confused about my duty and I don't know what to do, and after Lord giving him the whole Bhagavad Gita, this is surrender too, where he's fighting with his enemies. He's not passive here, he's completely active. So I'm not saying Draupadi's was not, that was a way of surrender. This is another way of surrender, where you are doing all your duties, right? You are fulfilling all your duties. He was fighting ferociously in the war, but that each and every action of Arjuna was surrendered, he was completely surrendered to the Lord, right? Our acharyas, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, has given us what the 6 elements of surrender. If we just focus on the first two, anukulasya, sankalpa, pratikulasya, varjanam. If we just focus on these first two, accepting whatever is favorable for our devotional service and rejecting anything unfavorable. So he here is accepting. That is surrender. Here, this personality, we all know, Bali Maharaj, he is rejecting the order of his spiritual master. Surrender to the Lord. We all know. He has perfected the limb of Atma Nivedan. Right? Bali Maharaj has surrendered everything to the Lord. We have this situation here too. Surrender. Gajendra surrendered to the Lord. Now, why? So we talked about, we just looked at 2-3 ways of surrender, because surrender, people do get confused. Surrender means, oh, should I just take renunciation, not do anything? Or what am I supposed to do? Should I just go in a forest and keep on meditating? So this surrender the 6 elements given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that speaks about what we are supposed to do, especially the first 2. Just begin. If we have perfected the first 2, everything, the rest 4 follows, automatically follows, right? The first 2, accept anything which is favorable and reject. Here also, Gajendra did understood. He tried his best. He was fighting, right? For 1,000 celestial years, he was fighting with this crocodile. And then he surrendered to the Lord. He mentions in the verse why he is surrendering to the Lord. Madrak prapanna pashupasha vimokshanaya, muktaya bhuri karunaya namolayaya. Right? He says, what does he say? He says, muktaya, you are, who can free you? Who is himself freed, right? If a person is bound himself, how can he free you? So Gajendra says that you are muktaya, you are karunaya. He says karunaya, which is embodiment of compassion. And you are alaya. Alaya, he says. Alaya means alert. His Lord is sitting in our heart. As soon as we ask for help, as soon as we surrender, he is alert. And what Gajendra says, bhuri, these 3 qualities are in, like, indefinite, infinite in you, where you are compassionate, where you are completely free, who is untouched by the contamination of material nature, and who is never inattentive. You are never inattentive. If I'm asking for help, I know that you will come for my help, right? Swamsena sarvatanu pranmanasi pratita pratyak dishe bhagavate brahate namaste, he says. I offer my obeisances to that Lord. So why do we need to surrender to the Lord? He is full of compassion. He is the only one who can free us, and he is always attentive. This reminds me of Srila Prabhupada said in one of his lectures, question answer thing, that if you are chanting the name of the Lord, Krishna is walking with you. Can you imagine? He is with us, and he is always with us as Chaitya Guru, right? So he is never inattentive to whatever we want, whatever our desires are. This is surrender. But how can we get to that stage of surrender? As I mentioned, through sadhana. Through our sadhana, we can surrender to the Lord, harmonizing our will with Krishna's will. Okay, harmonizing our will with Krishna's will. But what is Krishna's will? Can anyone tell me what is Krishna's will for me or for yourself? If anyone knows what Krishna's will is for,
For us
say,
to come back home, back
Yeah,
to him.
he wants to.
yeah, how does he plan that?
He
That we
sent
don't.
the spiritual master to guide us.
Yes, correct. Thank you so much, Prabhuji Mataji. So, yes, Krishna's will is that we should come back to God, come back to him. But he wants us to love him. He doesn't want that, oh, by hook or crook, he should come back to me. He's not that parent. The perfect art of parenting is Lord himself. He gives us multiple choice. My Prabhuji once was telling me, I think when he was preparing for the class, he came across this statement where independence without guidance can be dangerous. And it's such a poignant line. And also it mentions that we as parents, we are just supposed to guide and then give the independence, right? And Krishna does that same. But we don't know how that will of Krishna, that he wants us to come back to, how I am going to develop that love for him. We don't know that. As in, there's no manual for it where it will tell me, okay, Sita, if you come across this situation after the class, you might be coming across this situation, so you better do this. There's no kind of this defined manual as such. But if we approach every circumstance with these 2 factors of what our Bhakti Vinod Thakur has given us, accepting whatever is favorable for devotional service and rejecting whatever is unfavorable for our devotional service. Before taking any, will this help me progress in my devotional life? If it's not, then why I'm doing it, right? Every act then can become a surrender to the Lord. Every act, like how we talked about Arjun, he was performing, he was fighting, but he was surrendered to the Lord. His activities were surrendered to the Lord. How Bali Maharaj rejected his guru and surrendered to the Lord, right? But then we also say, yeah, anukulas, we are supposed to accept, we are supposed to reject. Is that so easy? Is that really so easy to always choose the right option, right? The solution is given by Srila Prabhupada, right, in the purport. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, but a person who associates with the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative becomes free from all material attachment and is thus liberated. If we want to get that strength to choose the right options every single time, what we are supposed to do? We are supposed to associate with devotees. We are supposed to associate with the Lord. And Lord has been so merciful that he has come in the form of his holy names. Right? We are come to the conclusion to the discussion, but please, if you don't take anything else from whatever I have said today, my humble request would be that we all together remember these 3 points, right? The quintessential solution to each and every problem you have in your life are these 2 things: association of devotees and doing Sankirtana, chanting of the Lord, associating with the Lord through his form, name, pastimes. It is the only solution, and it is one solution fits all of your problems, any problem. So this is a root solution. This is a solution which will attack the root. Of course, there would be other immediate solutions as well, which we'll have to take. But on top of this, we have to take, right? Like when we get sick, there is this one medicine which will always be there. Does anyone know in New Zealand? There's this one medicine for every sickness the doctor recommends.
Paracetamol.
Paracetamol. These are paracetamols for us. Yeah, you take antibiotics. Yes, you take multiple other pain reliefs, but with paracetamol, right? These 2. Just copy paste the solution to all of your problems. These solution will only destroy your problems from root. Okay. Never leave the association of Srila Prabhupada, Guru and devotees. Never. Never. Scriptures are filled with quotes of devotees glorifying the importance of association, right? And we can see that in our lives. If you look back, how many times a devotee has helped us directly, indirectly. The whole point of us coming in Krishna consciousness is through the mercy of devotees. Right? The power of devotee community, which comes together in a non-critical environment with a single motive to serve and please Lord, please Sri Shri Radha Girdhari. That power is just unimaginable. That can really move the worlds, right? This is an environment where everyone, all the devotees come together in a non-critical way, progressing towards one goal of pleasing the Lord. This environment is practiced in Golok Dham. And if we get expert in this environment here in material world, then Maya Devi knows that this person is not going to create any disturbance there. Maya Devi is one of the most essential tests. The purpose of all the tests she takes for devotees is to determine, His Grace Padmasambha Prabhuji was mentioning, is this devotee going to create disturbance in Golok Dham, or he will be among that member of non-critical environment progressing towards one goal, right? So we have to make sure that we are always associating with the devotees in the right attitude. And the other solution, of course, never leave the shelter of holy name. Never. This is, Krishna has been so merciful. He has come in the form of his name. And sometimes it's so difficult to even understand and fathom this fact that, is it so easy? Really? Just by chanting? But it is. And I don't remember, but I was giving this example. I was talking with someone and giving this example that long time back, it was that my mama was in sorry, my chacha was in a government company, and he got he was a big officer there, and then this one of his colleague, he passed while he was working on duty. He left the world. So then in government jobs in India, at least, that the next of kin gets the job, not just the money or anything, but that person, wife or brother, they will get the job which the deceased owned. So this so my uncle went to this person's village, went to met his wife, and he kind of gave this contract to her that you can sign, you can get the job. And she said, she looked at him with utmost unbelief, like she was like, are you joking? You want me to sign on a paper? And she was a village lady, right? She's like, this is just too good to be true. This cannot be. You are definitely making fun of me, or you're doing some fraud with me. I'm not going to sign it. You are saying the government job in India, which is so difficult to get, you are just giving me like this just because my husband died. Just get out from there. And that lady didn't sign it. If we take this analogy on us, it is so difficult for us to believe that chanting can actually take away all the problems. We can't believe that, isn't it? It's too good to be true. But what's important is it is true, and it is the only truth which we need to make sure that we never forget, right? If we diligently do our morning sadhana, if we make sure that, as I was talking, I was mentioning Srila Prabhupada's example that if you chant, Krishna is walking with you. If we make sure that that happens, if we are taking Lord's name always, Krishna is associating with us at every and each and every given point. And with these two solutions, the whole accepting favorable things and rejecting unfavorable things for our devotional service becomes very easy. It becomes a cakewalk if we take this in the right attitude. If we are present while chanting, if we are associating with devotees in a non-critical way with a single and only motto to please the Lord, that would make our whole process of surrender, anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam, that becomes very easy. So the conclusion, the points from the purport, what Srila Prabhupada mentions, that yes, we are in a problem. We all are suffering from this material attachment, sense gratification. But the solution, there is an easy way out of this material world. Associate with devotees, chant the names of the Lord. That would make accepting favorable things and rejecting unfavorable things in the progress of devotional service very easy for us. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for patiently listening and participating as well. Please, if there are any comments, realizations, or add-ons, please do. I might not have much time now, but we can definitely see if there are any realizations or comments. I'll
Hare
stop
Krishna,
here.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandot
Dandot,
Pranam.
Dandot Pranam. How nicely you started this chapter 29. the talks between Narad Muni and Prachin Bari. So the all is all about the surrendering process and how important it is for us to understand the process of surrendering. He explained with so many examples, especially if we look at this Arjun and our um, Gajendra. So all these examples tells us how important it is to understand the process of surrendering and how it work in everybody's life is a matter of understanding. So the choice is there, as you have given examples of. We have questions, we know the answer, but we don't know what to choose. So that is actually what is happening. We are so puzzled with the climatic condition around us. We don't know what is the right choice. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given this process of surrendering process, the song Sharanagati. It tells every components, all six components, so that we better understand how important is the impact of surrendering. Only surrender can bring us closer. And that's why, as the example of the Maya is so surrendered to the Lord. If we can follow the same way how Maya is surrendered to Lord, automatically you will be able to achieve the Lord mercy in any way. So the guidance is Srila Prabhupada has given this platform of ISKCON so that we can easily adopt that surrendering process without a question by association with the devotees. And that is only the help which can be obtained very easily, accessible to all of us, only to understand that it is the only way and have good faith and 100% faith, and we can easily come out of this illusion in every time in our spiritual life. It is only a matter of faith. Faith directs everything and impacts us in every respect of life. So that impact of faith, if we have, there is no question of doubt. Maya cannot touch. So that is the understanding we are trying to get out of this text one. And you have so nicely explained with examples, especially the choices. Choices, no, that is actually what is happening. So to understand the surrendering of Maya to the Lord, we need to understand ourselves, how we can be a best person of surrender to the Lord, so that we can achieve the same way as Maya is doing for the Lord. And that is the gist of this text. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. You outdo yourself every time in giving summaries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much. As usual, very, very nice class, bringing out the essential points, why we are not surrendered to the Lord. And every time, and the Maya Shakti prevents us. But the problem, first thing, in my opinion, is that we are not free from our attachment to material things. That is the fundamental things, because we believe that we can solve our problems ourselves. That is the that is the fundamental things. At least to me, it appears that we are thinking always somehow or other. Although we know as a devotee that Krishna is the controller of everything, but we in our day-to-day activities we fail to do that, and often think that maybe myself, if not me, but someone of my family or extended family or extended society, somehow the solution is there, and we are diverted to that direction instead of seeking help, or fully surrendered to the Lord. Of late, I have the opportunity of coming to my spiritual master very closely, and one of the things he was telling to one of the person in the phone, someone was, no, not on the phone, on presence. He was telling a family which was so much gripped with problems. But my Guru Maharaj told that, you see, now that was of a past thing. And now you have, by following the Prabhupada's words and his advice, you relied on Krishna and the Guru Maharaj, and your problem is solved now. So this happens, and only a realized person knows it.
Yes.
But for us, in an ordinary person, we often, lose our faith in times of critical crisis on Lord and try to surrender to elsewhere. And there lies the problem of all. A real problem lies there. And as you have very nicely explained, the Maya Shakti, I will just refer 2 points on that. Maya has got 2 parts. One is Avarunatmika Shakti and the Prakshepmika Shakti. Varunatmika Shakti is normally for the who are not devotees. For them, the Lord never wants them to know about him and about his potentiality. But for us, the devotee problem is more on the Prakshepatmika Shakti. Every moment we have a chance to fall down. Every moment. And if we ignore that, that is happening. We are not advancing. Why are you not advancing? Because every moment we are doing some unorthodox. And that means when there is a saying in Chaitanya Chandra very nicely told, Krishna Shurja Shama, the Lord is like light and Maya hai andhakar. But when there is light, there is no darkness. But we do not associate with the light, and so darkness creeps in. So our every endeavor, everywhere, we should firmly believe that when we surrender to Krishna, we are surrendered to Krishna, we are saved, and there is no problem. Or there will be no problem. And in this way, if we surrender and we have that faith, we believe that faith, ultimately we will be able to get rid of all these material problems, and we can go back to our destination, because the Lord is in chapter 10, verse, I think it is 12. Krishna, it is told that Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramang Bhavan. So Krishna is absolutely pure. So we have to erase our contaminations completely, and only then we can go back to Godhead. So, and the way of purification is only, we have nicely stated, in association with the devotees and abiding by the words of the instruction of the spiritual master, and that is the only way we can go back to Godhead. We should have that faith, and should, in each of our activities, we should perform it so that we can go back to Godhead, and that is the only way. This is Prabhupada's lesson to us and to all of us. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, again, you have highlighted how powerful Maya is, and the problem is we don't even understand that this suffering will never go away. That's why we always say, when we meet people, we say, don't worry, sab theek ho jayega. Kuch theek nahi hoga. We have to just come out of this material world. Only then everything would be fine. So thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for your feedback.
Hare Krishna Mataji, it appears there is no other person to make comments.
Sure.
So the class may be concluded. Thank you very much once again for the very nice class.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। सीता माता जी की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for the nice class. Hare Krishna.